Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. While men are arguing about what to say and how to react to women that are in the space like Melanie King, Red Film Diaries, Jessica X, and Crimson Cure, the answer is more painful than for what we men ourselves debating about it are even prepared. See, on one hand, how we react to them is very easy to calculate. You base it on what they say, that's all. You don't send more or less money than you send a man for saying the same thing. Maybe you send them less if they demand a man make more money than them. You don't react differently, though. You don't show off for them by trying to son another man. Ironically, a lot of men who do react this way don't understand that only makes women look at both men as worthless when one tries to dominate another in front of women. The man trying is showing off, and women can see that. And so now he looks like an insecure little boy no matter what he's doing. And the man whom the other seeks to dominate isn't going to have a good reaction as far as women are concerned, because how are you supposed to react to that when you're an adult? You're childish if you react, and you're a docile little B-word if you don't, and it's not really a right way to do it. Unless you just got a super sharp tongue that embarrasses the other guy in front of everybody. So once that man reacts, he's either too aggressive or he's too pliant and docile. So at that point, both of them now have negative attention from the women who see this, especially the women for whom the show off was trying to show off. So that fails. That's the way you don't want to react. So how to react and how not to react comes intuitively to men based on what the ladies say, based on basic decent morality. And the benefit of the doubt is not wrong to give until there is no more doubt. What to say to them is different. It's harsh. And it doesn't coddle the honest women who may really mean men no harm, even if they deserve that coddling. And I'm going to say it to them today, and I'm not saying it to these honest women out of hatred. And I'm assuming honesty, of course. Not that they're always right, but I'm assuming honesty right now because I haven't seen evidence otherwise, even when I've disagreed with them. There's one thing that they don't want us to say, and I don't blame them. It's something that even the dishonest women don't necessarily want to hear us say, and I can understand, but I do blame them. Unfortunately, it's something that must be said to both, and to one it must be said even without hatred. To another one, it may even be said with pity, but it's got to be said. Gentlemen, I'm telling you what to say, because you're going to wind up having to say it anyway if things are going to change for the better. So I'm telling you now, we're checking out. Your honesty is enough for us to count you. We have to tell these honest ladies, your honesty is enough for us to count you as honest. We haven't seen otherwise. God bless you for it. But let's look at what the real deal is on the ground in real life. We're not going to come across you. And that is not your fault. When you made the decision to be honest, it was no longer your fault. It's simply too little, and it's too late for many of us. You made the right choice eventually. But there wasn't much, it simply wasn't enough. And when I say too little, too late, I'm not saying this even to blame them. They came forth with the honesty, but it's so few of them that in real life, we're not going to meet their likes. Of course, you're not going to meet Melanie King in real life. Of course, you're not going to meet Crimson Cure in real life. Of course, you're not going to meet Red Film Diaries. She's married anyway. Of course, you're not going to meet Jessica X in real life. They're not going to meet me either. But you're not going to meet their likes in real life. And I'm talking about both in honesty, wisdom, and in looks. You know the game, gentlemen. The game is so brutal when it comes to the genders that unlike women looking at men, you actually can predict their behavior based on how they look. I don't mean, when I say they, I'm not referring to the honest ones, but you think about it. You actually can base their behavior towards men on nothing other than how they look. Are they nice looking? They're going to have an attitude. They may be polite, but they're going to be shifty and they're going to dodge and duck. And to a certain extent, they may have to. You don't expect them to like everybody. I don't either, and I don't blame them. They're going to have to. They're just going to have to. I get it. But there's more. We got to tell them we're checking out. And we also have to tell them that while we are checking out, meaning we're going to be leaving the Western woman and we will be leaving the West if we decide to be with anybody, we also must tell them we're going to tell the young men, middle school age, if not elementary school, we're going to tell them what the game plan is. Work, stack, leave if you decide to. But we're not going to be there for the Western woman. It's not because every one of them's a liar, obviously. It's because the honest ones are too few and far between. There are many women that don't lie or tell the truth. They just try to be quiet about it, and they're waiting, they're biding their time. But unfortunately, that's not good enough. What is the game plan? And I'm not promoting celibacy or fornication. But what is the game plan until such time as a man can leave? The game plan is, while you're working and gaining skills, you also fast every so often. Also, soy products are available. Now, they don't necessarily lower testosterone production, but because of this, the synthetic estrogen into which they metabolize in any human body, male or female, they can lower the effects of the testosterone you do produce. Do you really need all that while you're young and you're single? You probably don't. And the women may not like that. You may think it's going to do some harm to you. It's not. You're going to find whichever level works best for you, allowing you to still do your work, but also killing your thirst. Not completely killing it, but reducing it to where you can wait. See, women have conceit. They don't have something that just does away with the libido altogether. Fasting doesn't do that for them. Until they reach starvation levels, fasting does not do that for them. So that's a weapon. You've got men that they don't. Utilize that. Why? Out of hatred? Not at all. Utilize that, gentlemen, because simply put, that's what you need. See, as long as you got that thirst, the natural levels of that thirst are now just their weapon against you. It's nothing other than a ring through your septum that they are using to drag you where they want you to go. Never tolerating you making your own decisions and then not respecting you when you don't. It's like Dr. Tia Johnson said, they always test boundaries and test boundaries and test boundaries. Now, you don't let them, they just keep trying. You let them, they lose respect. They are literally trying to find a way to lose respect for you. You can't win in a situation like that. See, right now, some say, well, you know, man, that wired woman is where it's at. Look, most of them don't like you. 93% of them don't like you. 7% of them do. That's probably, now that 7% that do might be enough for most brothers. But the thing is, right now, there's still some mysticism surrounding us in their eyes. They still don't pursue us for marriage. That mysticism surrounding us is eroding, though. We're becoming less and less mysterious to them. As time goes on, they're beginning to see us as being more and more like their own men. They drove their own men to Southeast Asia long before Boom Shika Bonquisha and Sophista Ratchet Sapphire drove us. So let me explain this to you. We got to check out, and we got to tell them that we're going to tell their sons too, their nephews, their grandsons, middle school age. We're not going to accept any apologies for it. We're not going to wear a pair of handcuffs for it. We see these young men, we're going to tell them. Same way that the old, them old N-words sitting on the corner talking about, hey, young blood, you got you some trim yet? We're up here teaching these young men to, even if only below the belt, pedestalize these ladies. Training these men to pursue so hard that it put all the power in the ladies' hands before they were even ladies, before they were even grown. We are now going to be those old men on the corner saying, hey, young blood, you know the game plan? Hey, young blood, before you hit puberty, do you know how to kill the thirst? Or do you know how to subdue it? You know what fasting is? Soy milk, better for your stomach anyway. You understand? Yeah, this is real. Because see, first it was power that men and women had over each other, although women always acted as though we had none over them, which is part of the problem in today's time. Now what we're doing is we're saying, since you have acted like this, we're now going to step away. Because you're acting like this, you've done nothing other than drive men away, to the point where and even when you didn't drive men away, or even when you still had options in men, you were on Amazon ordering replicas of the male member, replicas of the exact part of real men that you made clear you valued the absolute least when it was attached to a real man. And then you'll sit up and go to work and save money and pay with your own credit card to get a delivery to your door for a replica. And then you want to sit up and act like you just don't have the libido. You just ain't that impressed. You just that difficult. 5 years by yourself, turns out not only are you using these toys, these replicas for which you paid your own money, but you get mad if your man forgets his wallet at home. Not only is that the case, but when you really got sick and tired of those things, you out here getting a double and triple digit body count. We're going to tell these, even the honest women, you, the honest woman, because of your honesty, may want to tell us men, don't check out, don't get passports, don't bounce. No, we're doing that. Not because we hate you, the honest woman, but because you're simply too rare, too few, and too far between to go around. And we just ain't got time to go looking for you. Yeah, you exist, but let's face it. See, when we're out there, out and about in the public as men, we don't even have to shoot a shot to get shot down. Some of these ladies are so gung-ho about shooting a guy down so that they can get some kind of points with their friends that they'll start shooting men down who aren't even shooting their shots. They just have to reject, because that's part of where their social approval comes from. That's part of how they join the club. It's so important to them. I see that over here where I live. My students, I don't see it really, but my students told me that that's what was going on. They just didn't know what the reason was. I told them the reason is because these girls are pressuring each other. So they're leveling false harassment accusations, because to say that a man paid them attention automatically means that he's harassing, because that's what the law says it is. So they would rather falsely accuse a man of something that is criminal in order to say they get male attention to their friends than they would to simply let every man that doesn't harass them off the hook. They got a choice. Do they falsely accuse men that aren't doing anything so they can say they get attention to their friends? Or do they not say that? Do they not falsely accuse innocent men, but then let their friends know that they're not getting attention from men? Which one is it? Well, that's a tough call to make, but you can tell that it's going to be based on morality. And what's happened is that there have been cases now where many more ladies are falsely accusing men. And this is it's a known phenomenon now. So there's that social pressure that these ladies are under now. And men are withdrawing the attention. The only thing we're doing is we're not doing it fast enough, quickly enough. Male chastity, there's a lot to be said for it. I've talked about this before, and I'm probably going to talk about it tomorrow, somebody else's channel. Or maybe later tonight, you all's time. But I want you all to understand, gentlemen, I want you gentlemen to understand, I want you gentlemen to realize how important that is, and how it is so important that we're going to have to even look honest women in the face who we respect for their honesty and tell even them we're checking out. Because we have to. That's why. And even now, because of the spread of misandry under the guise of feminism, Even when we check out and we go to these other places, understand it's possible now that it can still work, but you're going to have to do a lot of fighting even there because it's going there. Right now it's in larger cities, Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, Bangkok. It's there. It's spreading, Johannesburg. It's spreading from there into smaller villages and towns. And we're going to have to get in touch with these guys over there, our new buddies, our new neighbors, and let them know, listen, there's something that is of mutual interest to both of us, and that is for your sister and your niece and your daughter to not have any social media account about which you don't know. And if they get that ass whooped, if you find out they got one they didn't tell you about, beat down. Not because they had it, but because they didn't tell you. Why? Because if they don't tell you, then what is it that they're doing? If they have one and they can't let their male relatives know, then it's either feminism to the point of misandry or thoughting it up. Those are the reasons. Because that's how it spreads. And it is spreading to these areas. And the ones from the city are going to turn around and spread it to the smaller towns. Korea's already a problem. Japan's already a problem with regards to that. Sometimes they simply don't practice that with men from abroad, but they do it to their own. And that's a sign, because eventually if they're doing it to their own men today but not to you, that means tomorrow they're going to do it to you or to your son or to my son. It's not acceptable, because I'm not raising my son to be a chauvinist. So we're going to have to give that bad news to them. You want to argue about how we're going to react to their presence in this space? No. What we got to tell them is bad news. And to those of you you ladies that are honest, understand, I wish I had better news to give. But the fact is that the dishonest liars who outnumbered you made it necessary to give both of you the bad news through no fault of yours. You just weren't enough in number to go around even in your 20s, let alone now, and still aren't. I'll leave you with this proverb. In the village of the dishonest, honest merchants are guaranteed poverty. I'll leave you with another one. And this one is spoken in Nigeria in more than one language, I believe. The proverb is that the market is loud because everybody wants to cheat and not be cheated. Thank you for listening. I hope it helps. Black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power, because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.